Habari leo. Unakuja chuoni? Nitumie namba ya Hopkins. Hello? Nitumie namba ya Hopkins. Unanitumia kwa SMS ama WhatsApp? Sawa. Kama umekataa baba. Waambie tu wasome notes.
Hello, anyone who can get us? Anyone who can hear us? Hello? Okay, kindly share the link. We are just sharing in a while. While we are having some challenges, but I can see some of us are keen and we can move. So I'm sharing the link, another link. Are you able to see the screen? If you're able to see the screen, kindly type yes. Okay. The lecturer is proceeding. Pole lecturer endelea.
So we are sorry for that. We have had challenges. We had just looked at the importance of listening. Now we want to look at the process of listening. How do you listen? So we're saying you begin with hearing. There's some sound to your ears. Then this sound is interpreted by the brain. Then it is stored in the short-term memory for immediate use. Stored in the short-term memory for immediate use, or it can be stored in the long-term memory for future recall. All this is something you do without thinking. It is the way God programmed you. When the brain senses that this information is for later, then it moves it to the long-term memory. That is why sometimes you listen to information and you can be able to recall it quickly. That means it has not been moved to the long-term memory. And there is some information you have to really think. I see students in the examination looking up, looking on the sides, trying to retrieve information from the long-term memory. That means a lot of other information has come and it has then been stored. The last stage in the listening process is reacting or responding or giving feedback. This is where, from the information you have received, then you act accordingly. You act accordingly. The stages of listening, they involve sensing. Our minds can tell the kind of sound we are hearing. We can tell that whatever sound we are hearing is the sound of a car, the sound of people in distress, the sound of people who are happy, the sound of your mother, perhaps, the sound of an old person, of a young person, of a baby, we have an ability to sense. Then we also understand. You also understand what the speaker is trying to say to you. Then you evaluate that information. That means you give it some kind of value, some implication, the benefits. What is the message likely to imply for you or for the other person? Then lastly, you respond. So you respond by either taking some action or by also giving some verbal information which the other person will also listen to. It's also important for you to note that our minds have levels of retention of information. That is why we'll talk about working memory. This is part of our consciousness that interprets and assigns meaning to information that we receive. It is the working memory. If you are, let us say, brain dead, you have had an accident and you're brain dead, then your working memory is not there. You are not even likely to remember anything, even what has been done or what has been said or people that were close to you, you may not be able to remember them. That is, your working memory has been affected by either the accident or something that happened to you. Now, the working memory works together with the short-term memory, where information is stored for a short or temporary moment so that it can be recalled easily. And then we have the long-term memory, where information is stored permanently. And this information could be about our past experiences, our past images of people that we have met in the past, and smells and other things that we have come across. They are all stored in the long-term memory. Now, when we want to retrieve them, usually it is not something we work around. We don't struggle to retrieve information. We only need to have a need. For example, you're in an exam room and information was shared with you in first year, first semester. And let us say you are in third year or even in fourth year. What will happen is that once there is a need and the brain recognizes the need that you need to remember that information, then it takes you back to that space. For some people, it is easy for them to get information from their long-term memory. And how is it? It is because they keep refreshing their memory, either by revising, by discussion, by seeing information that is related. And that's why as a student, you are encouraged not just to read or to go to class, listen to information, and then stop at that point. You are encouraged to revise, to discuss with a colleague, to see information in terms of those topics and subtopics. When you do that, your long-term memory is refreshed. Getting information from it is very easy. Have you ever wondered why you go to an exam and you struggle until you have a headache? At the end of the exam session, if it is 2 hours, you find that you have a headache. It is because your brain was working really hard to get you information that was stored in the long-term memory. You will also find that still in the same examination room, there are people who will be writing easily. They will be writing very fast. They will be writing a lot of information. They will be sitting comfortably. And at the end of the exam period, let us say 2 hours, they will hand in their paper and they are smiling and they are happy and they are sharing high fives and they are going about their business with a lot of confidence. It is because these people have continually worked on their long-term memory. So whatever we listen to, we have said we have a working memory, all of us. That is why we are human. That's why we are alive and we are well. We have a working memory. But this working memory then is divided into short term and long term. And people who operate on the short term memory usually have a problem remembering things. They are not able to work well. If they are workers in an office, they may not remember what the boss said yesterday or even what the boss has said a few minutes ago because they have short memory. But those who have long memory are able to get information and work on it easily from their long-term memory. Now we have what we call types of listening. We have what we call active listening. It is listening with a purpose, and it comprises listening carefully with all your senses. That means if there's anything to watch in terms of color, in terms of sound, in terms of the words, you are able to do that. That is listening actively. You are also checking to see the responses that you are receiving from what you are listening to. We have also what we call empathetic listening, where we listen to feel with the other person. An example I like giving is that of a colleague. You are with them yesterday evening, and today morning when you meet them, they tell you that they lost their phone or they lost their money. This money was taken from their phone through scamming people. And so while they are explaining to you, empathetic listening requires that you look at them in the face. You listen for their words, you listen for their reactions, you listen for their appearance, and also you feel with them and you respond in a certain way. So if this friend of yours is telling you about what happened yesterday evening so that they lost their money, you are listening to them, you're not talking back. Because if you compete in terms of talking, then you are not a good listener. In empathetic listening, we give the other person the full attention. We are listening to feel, to understand the other person. Then we have comprehensive listening. This is listening for understanding. You are in a class, you are in a public lecture, you need to listen for comprehension. You're trying to understand what are the key points, where is the flow, what is the flow of the information, what is the action required after you have listened. So you're listening for understanding. If you are in a church today, you listen for understanding. Then we have what we call critical listening. This involves making judgment. You are listening so that you can make judgment. You are listening so that you can analyze, so that you can evaluate, so that you can critique the information you are receiving. So as you listen, you're not just listening to get information so that you can respond to it, but you want to make judgment. And a good example I like giving is that of politicians. When politicians are on the campaign trail, you will need to listen to them critically. The reason is sometimes they promise heaven when they give you something that is not even close to heaven. They can tell you that if you vote me in, I will ensure that all the students in my constituency who are in the university will get bursary. Now, when you're listening to such information, you need to also make judgment. Is it a possibility that this politician can have a lot of money that will take care of all students? Is it possible? Is it truly possible that they can do this? So you are listening to make judgment, whether it is possible or not. Another good example is when you listen to advertisements. You need to listen critically. An advertisement like that one of toothpaste can promise that after you have used the toothpaste, your teeth will be white like snow. But what if your teeth are naturally brown? Will the toothpaste turn them white? So you need to listen critically. Listen to ensure that the information being shared with you is truly possible. Then we also listen for enjoyment, or what we call appreciative listening. You're listening to music. You're listening not for the sake of understanding. You're not listening to feel with the singer. You're simply enjoying yourself. That is called appreciative listening. Then we have reflective listening. You're paying keen attention to the words of the speaker, their actions, their body movements, their emotions. You are reflecting on the information being shared. We also have what we call passive listening, where you listen just to absorb the information. You may not write down anything. You may not do anything. You're simply listening, and you are there, and the information is shared with you. Now, just the way I said in the beginning, we also have barriers to effective listening. And these barriers, just like we talked about barriers to effective communication, we said anytime we have barriers, we just do not take note of them and then stop at that point. But we take note of them with the intention of being able to mitigate. That means to work to reduce them, to work to eliminate them, to work to ensure that we can still operate above those barriers. And a barrier, we say, is anything that will affect, in the case of listening, anything that will affect our listening. And one of the things that can affect our effective listening is the distance between the speaker and the person who is listening. So, for example, you're sitting in auditorium C, and you're sitting at the very back of auditorium C, and the speaker is on the stage, and they do not have a public address system. It is possible that they are likely to be saying things that you will not hear. And because of that, you will miss out on some of the information. That is a barrier to effective listening. Another barrier, I realize I've not put them here. Another barrier to effective listening would be detractors around you. Sometimes you want to listen, but either people around you are making noise, or there is music playing around you, or there is something that is taking away your attention. That is likely to be a barrier. And I want you to be able to look for more barriers. I think one of the other bits of information on the LMS which I posted has to do with barriers to effective listening. You will find there a number of them. So what can you do as a person, as an individual, as a worker, as a student, as a child in the home, to ensure that you reduce on those barriers? You can focus your attention on the speaker. Ensuring that you have eye contact with the speaker helps you to see, helps you to concentrate on what they're saying, and not on other things that are happening around. If it is detractors, then you can work on those detractors. For example, if there is loud music in your vicinity, or where you are supposed to be listening to some information, you can put off the music, or you can move away from where the noise is. By so doing, you are removing the barrier. If it is in a classroom situation, let us say you are listening to a lecture, and you wish to improve on your listening, then you can also summarize what the speaker is saying. You can do that by writing down brief notes. Take notes. Notes improve your listening. Notes will force you to focus on what you are hearing, focus on the speaker, focus on the topic. So by taking brief notes, you are also improving your listening ability. Also, you can respond to questions. You can respond to questions, and in so doing, you are showing that you have understood. If you know that you will be required to respond to questions, then you will be focused in terms of listening to what is being shared with you. So when you have understood what you are listening to, then you'll be able to respond to questions effectively. It is important also that to be able to listen effectively, that you be physically and mentally prepared. How do you prepare physically? Physically, you prepare by having good health, being, let us say, well fed, or having had some meal, so that you are not actually distracted by the state of your hunger or something like that. You also will need to be prepared mentally. Tell yourself that I'm going to a lecture room, and in this lecture, we are going to learn, or we're going to hear information around a certain topic. The lecture will take 2 hours. So you're mentally preparing yourself. And also in that process, you're also physically preparing yourself, because you're going to sit down, you're going to focus, you're going to be listening. You will need to have some kind of preparation to ensure that then when you begin to listen, you are not distracted. It's also important that you make use of available time. When you're conversing with someone, you don't rush through the information. You take time to articulate what you want them to get. That is a way of effectively ensuring that people listen. Do not rush your conversation. You also need to show interest in what the speaker is saying. Sometimes, when you are not interested, you will not listen, you'll be hearing. Information will come, and you may not even be able to repeat what you have heard. So, have some interest. Interest in the topic, interest in what you're hearing. And this goes more especially to our lessons. You're going to a lecture, ensure that you have interest in that lecture. Develop some interest. Some of the ways of developing interest is reading around that topic before you get to class, or discussing with someone around that topic before you get to class, so that by the time you get to class, you are looking forward to information, you're looking forward to some discussion to be undertaken. You also need to listen for ideas and feelings. Many times when people are speaking, they don't just share ideas, they also share feelings. And feelings are evident from their facial expressions, from their body movements, from the kind of posture they have. All that brings out their body language. And in this way, then you are able to listen to the words and combine it with the way the person is expressing themselves. You're also able to get whether they are sad or they are happy, whether they are telling you this information because they wish you to respond in a certain way or not. Eye contact is also another way of ensuring that you can focus on the speaker. I know that Africans are not very good with this. When we are talking to one another, we'll be looking everywhere except looking at the person we're talking to. The white people, the people from the West, are very good at this. When they speak to you, they look at you in the eye. Sometimes to be able to tell what you are saying, whether it is true, whether you are genuine, and sometimes just to show that they have given you their undivided attention. Employ the right kind of non-verbal cues. Ensure that you are listening with your whole being. Some of the non-verbal cues that you can employ are like nodding. When you nod, you show that you are actually in agreement. Of course, you don't nod about everything, but you nod about those things that you're in agreement. But it also shows the person who is speaking to you that you are listening. Sit in such a way that you do not look like you are relaxing to sleep, but that you are focused on the speaker. Ensure that the way you present yourself before the person who is speaking to you enables you to receive information that then you can be able to use later on. Ask questions if you are permitted. If the speaker allows you to ask questions, ask. Because asking questions, like I said before, is a sign that you have been attentive, you have been listening, you had a focus on the information. Jot down key points and also identify and understand barriers to the listening process and eliminate them. So when you are in a listening situation and you realize that there are some barriers around there, let us say your friends who are trying to distract you, trying to show you what they have on their phones, or asking you to read or to look at something else, ensure that you are able to eliminate barriers so that then you can be able to listen attentively. We're also saying identify patterns in what you're listening to. Identify patterns. Understand what are the main points and what are the supporting points. Understand the direction in which information is being shared. Are you being convinced? Is the information shared to you so that you can understand or so that you can make a decision? All that will help you listen effectively. So when you are in a listening situation and you realize that you do not remember anything about what was said to you, it is because you are not keen about the main points. You are not keen about the direction of the speech. And so you do not remember anything. Then lastly, we are saying to be able to listen effectively, apply memory retention skills. One of them is rehearsing. Can you rehearse what was said to you? Can you rephrase it? To rephrase is to put information in your own words. Information which you had, you now put it in your own words. You can only put it in your own words because you have understood. If you have not understood, you cannot rephrase information. So rephrase information, and that will help you to have retention. Another is to use mnemonic devices. Mnemonic devices, you can use a series of letters that stand for a concept. I know when you were in primary school, and I think even some bit of secondary school, you had some mnemonics. Like you are able to remember how the colors of the rainbow follow each other. You had a word for it. And when you had that word, you then would be able to show the colors the way they follow each other. Those who did English, I'm sure you had also ways to remember even how adjectives follow one another in a sentence. So mnemonic devices are useful to ensure that your memory is up to date and that you can be able to remember information that you have been listening to. I wish to say that Because listening is going to form a great part of your studies at this level, there will be opportunities for you to speak, even in the classroom, but most times you will be listening. And so, because of that, you need to ensure that your listening skills keep improving. When we began learning this course, I said that this course is a very practical course. It involves giving you ideas that you can be able to practice immediately. So you don't have to wait for the end of the semester before you make use of the information you have learned in this course. This course, you can begin to make use of the information as soon as today and as soon as you are done with this lesson, because you will be listening to your roommate, you'll be listening to your colleague, you'll be listening to lecturers, you listen to the villagers, the people you buy mboga from, you'll be listening to very many people. Ensure that you can practice some of the information here, and by so doing, then you become a better listener. You become a better listener. People who practice, I've said, will ensure that their long-term memory is active and that they retain information. But those who hear and listen and forget, it will be very difficult. You get to an exam room or you get to a situation where you need to make use of this information and you cannot do it because your mind is not able to pick that information from where it was deposited in the long-term memory. So with that, I want to bring this to an end and to again appreciate your presence in the classes and the attempts you have made. When I was looking at the pretest, I realized that 1,609 of you attempted the pretest. That was a good practice. And if you did not attempt the pretest, I encourage you to still go on and attempt it. It is not going to be graded, but it will help you to know how to deal with questions on the e-learning platform. The quiz, I realized that 3,171 of you attempted. So thank you very much, and I want you to keep on. I have opened this topic on listening skills on the e-learning platform. I will encourage you to go back to it and look at the notes and the videos posted there. At this point, I want to invite Mr. Boniface to take you through whatever else he has to say. Okay.
Hello, good afternoon all, and sorry for the mishap for today. We've had a lot of challenges with the internet and at some point the power. So I'm only checking anyone who has questions on the chat. I'm looking at the chat. Anyone who has any question? Anyone who has any question, just type on the chat. There are no notes that are being sent, just access them on the learning management system. Is there another pretest? That one lecturer will answer. Let me check. I'm checking anyone who has any question. And please tell your colleagues to attend class, because in as much as we had challenges, I'm only seeing around 900 students. So tell your colleagues to attend lectures. Let me check. Yeah, the quiz that was done is a graded quiz. So please make sure if it's graded, you have to do it because it will count to your final cut marks. Let me see. I'm trying to check on your questions. Anyone who has a question? Anyone who has a question? Those who have issues with logging in, make sure you come to ABD004 to be assisted. And please don't come just when you hear there is a cut. Your portal should always be open so that you can access the notes from there. Those who have changed their courses, I don't know if the letters are out, but if you have changed the course, please bring your details so that we can correct on the portal. Attendance register iko kwa learning management system. It's still open till 2 o'clock. You will sign it in. How to access attendance sheet? Yeah, it's on the learning management system. Colin Sangolo, next time try to be better. Okay. Can I change password on the LMS? Yes, you can change the password. Just click at your profile where your name is written. Click at the arrow up, or you can come to the office, or you can ask colleagues. Please, some of your colleagues already know these things. Don't shy away from asking for assistance from them. Sarafina, notes are on the LMS. School IDs get to media. Hizo zinapeana huko media. I'm not sure if they are already printed. Those who have not enrolled, just ask your colleagues. They know the procedure. Ask your colleagues, they know the procedure of enrolling. Don't shy away from asking your colleagues. I think there are no more questions, Doc. Yeah.
So I just want to respond to that one person who was asking whether there will be a quiz. There will be a quiz almost every week on Friday. There will always be a quiz. Even if it is 2 questions, but there will always be a quiz. So prepare. So go to the LMS, enroll yourself in the course KUC 1110, and begin to engage with the content there, the notes, the chat, and the videos that are posted there.
Okay, we are just closing. I'm seeing someone is asking, how can I access the results of the previous test? Just click at that quiz. You will see the results. You will see what you scored. Then someone is asking the difference between pre-test and quiz. Pre-test was to prepare you. Pre-test was to prepare you for online learning, and it doesn't count to the overall cut marks, but the quizzes will count to your overall cut marks. All the cut marks will be summed up and then calculated out of 30. Those who are admitted after the test, there will be more tests, so the ones that are coming, make sure you do them, because we cannot rewind. ICT office iko ABC 313, ABC 313. Is it a must tufanye maswali kwa portal? Yeah, that one is just maybe for practice. It's not a must, but the quizzes are a must. Quizzes are a must. Those who have challenges with logging in, you come to our office. We are always open. LMS, Esther Mkhwana. LMS is Learning Management System. Is it a must to enroll all the units? Not all, but you have to enroll to at least 2. That is KUC 1110 and KUC 1120. The other units, you will go as per the directives from your respective lecturers. Where is the office? ABD 004. ABD 004. Hiyo ni ofisi ya Odell.